Well, hello again, and welcome to Ogmore Angling Association fly tying with me, Peter Ross. Today I'm going to tie a dry midge. It's a very small fly, which we tend to call the angler's curse. I don't normally tie these small flies, but I've been asked to tie one. Tie quite a few for my friend, a friend of mine who's been trying for a large trout, which occupied quite a deep pool on the Ogmore. And although he was a free riser and everyone had tried for him, no one had actually hooked it. So he was taking a very small fly. And this friend of mine got on his hands and knees and he tried to look very hard to see what the fish was taking, the trout, and he was taking a very small midge. You could hardly see the fly. Now this hook in the vise here is a size 20, but I tied it on a 24. And it was a size 24 that took the trout. I'm going to tie it on a 20, which is a bit bigger, purely hoping to give you a better view of the tie-in. Now, as an example, the hook in the vise is a 20, and just to show you, the one on this piece of paper here is a normal 14, so you can see the difference in the two hooks. The 20 here, 20 there, and the normal 14. Very small. I don't normally tie them because, I don't normally fish them because they take very small fish and you go to the trouble of unhooking them. And that's a bit of a problem, really. So it's the angler's curse, or some people call it the Caenis. Now, the difficulty in tying small flies is getting hackle small enough, but we'll see how we get on with this. First item to put on will be the wings. So I'll just start this now. I use the same size silk for this. It's the size, the 8/0 silk, which I use more or less as standard. Now, the wings. I want to talk to you about the wings a little bit because I cut them from a hen cape, a grey hen cape like this. You can use various colours, but on this one I'm going to tie, so I've taken a feather out, and this is the feather. And I use a wing cutters on a lot of my flies. Now, wing cutters come in a little set like this, different sizes. This is a big one we'd use for, say, mayfly wings, but the one I use for this little angler's curse, or the Caenis, is the smallest one in the pack. And the way I do it is you get a feather out of the cape, put it on a sheet of paper, newspaper or something, and you press down like this and cut it. You do that, and this is how it'll turn out. Like this. You see there's a little gap in the wing cutter where the stalk will come through, and this is how your wing will be. That will be one of the wings, okay? Now I've got a couple prepared here. Obviously, with the beauty of video, this can be done. So I've got two, and I'm going to put them on. And I'll show you how I do that in a moment. Get them lined up, one like that. Get the other. Hope this comes out okay. Got the two stalks together, and this is how your wings will be. So they just go on just here. I can tie them down like this and probably draw them through a bit, just like this. Draw them through, and once I've got them there, I can secure them a bit better, put a wind or two behind to get them to stand up, and take these stalks back behind. You can do the two together or one at a time. It doesn't matter. I'm doing them one at a time here, as you can see. And that secures the wings pretty well. Cut off these stalks, and those are the first items on the two wings. Now, I will be positioning these wings as we go through the fly. Right, so I take my silk now down towards the bend, which I've more or less already done, about there, and I put on the tail. Now, pardon me, I'm going to use a black cock feather for the tail, hoping again it comes out better on the video. I tend to use something a bit lighter, but it may not show up as well, so I'm picking a black one to show you. And if you use black, I don't think there'll be anything wrong with it. So this goes on, you get your measurements. It's a dry fly and the tail can be longish. I put it my side and the silk will tend to take it over. How is that looking? Can you see what I'm doing there? Let's hope so. Okay, that's the tail on. Now I'm going to remove these stubs here with my scissors. So we're down to there. The body I'm going to use, you want something light, and you want something that will expel water, really, or not hold water. So what I do, I strip a peacock quill, and then I run a marker pen down it. So I've got a reddish maroon colour like this, which I've been told is the sort of body colour of the fly that this trout was taking. So I tie this in like this now, like that. Tie it in, take my silk up, remove this surplus piece, and I bring the silk up behind the wings like this. I'll park it in front for a moment, and now this is the body that I'm going to wind. Before I wind it, I'll just give a little touch of varnish my side just to help to stick it. Not a lot, just a touch like that. And I wind it. Got to be a bit, it's a bit delicate doing this because this particular material is not the strongest. The beauty of this peacock quill, it's got a sort of stripe down it, a two-colour stripe. And even when you run a marker pen down it, you've still got that sort of stripe, which tends to give a segmented appearance to the body. It's used a lot in fly tying, and it's lovely material. Sorry if my fingers are blocking the view a bit here, but I will try to show you shortly. Beauty of these wing cutter wings is the wings are quite robust because they've got the quill down through them, which strengthens the wing. Okay, hope you can see that. That's the body, the tail and the wings. Nip that off, just like that. Now, the hackle, as I say, the difficulty in tying this size fly is getting a hackle small enough. So you need to get a hackle either from a saddle cape, or if it's from a neck cape of a cockerel, they will be right up the top, the very small hackles, and I'll put that on in a moment. Just before I do, I just want to tell you about storing these very small hooks. This box here is a medical pill box. It's normally got the days of the week for people to store their medication in. And you've got all these nice little compartments. These can be purchased from any pharmacy. And they're lovely for storing hooks in, as you can see. There's a little trapdoor you open, and this is an example, a down eye size 24. Can you see that? That's the type of thing. Now that is something I wanted to tell you about, because that's pretty important. Okay, I'll just put that to one side for a moment. Now, I know a lot of people say, why add wings to such a small fly? I like the wing because it does make it a little bit harder to tie, but especially when the wings are parted a little bit, when the fly is cast, it parachutes down nicely on the water, and the wings help that to happen. Okay, I'm just going to tie on this hackle here as a figure of 8. One that way, one this way. This is a very small grizzle hackle, which is what I want to use. Okay, I'll take the stalk back. Take the stalk back behind the wings, as long as it's back a little bit, and I will tie the stalk down like that, and that'll stop it pulling out. Now I have to capture that stalk, so just bear with me while I do that. I can see it there. Just want to capture that to cut it off. Didn't get it that time. Got it this time. Put the fly a little bit back in focus. Ready now to wind the hackle. Get myself to the front. Okay, now this is a nice small good quality hackle. Not all that easy to obtain, but if you can get one, they're very good. Bear with me. Now this particular trout that my friend was trying for, he became obsessed with it, quite honestly. It was nobody's fool. Several had tried for it. Most people in our club had had a go at it, and none of them had managed to take it. There was a rumour that it rose once to a royal wolf fly, but no one else could take it. So he asked me to tie this little fly up for him, which I did, and that took, the trout took that fly, and he was landed. And as I say, he was a free riser, but he was nobody's fool, and he was a strong, heavy fish, too beautiful to kill, so he was put back unharmed. I'm just going to remove this hackle, just like that, and put on a whip finish. Now, I'm going to draw these hackles back a bit fiddly tying a small fly, like this, but now and again you will need one. Not too often, I don't think. Now, those wings will be positioned in a moment, just bear with me. I'm going to put on a whip finish. The way I normally do. Capture this top one here, missed it then, so I will start again. Like that. If you've got a whip finish tool, it's easier. You only need 3 winds. Okay. And that's it. Now, you wouldn't think that such a small fly would hold a 2-pound trout, but it did, and it took him. It was landed, and as I said, he was a beauty. 1 or 2 little stray hackles here, which won't matter too much, but I will try to remove them just a little bit. Make it look a little bit tidier. Okay, I'll just varnish the head, and to varnish the head I use a thin varnish, very thin varnish, my Vineyard's varnish, nice and thin, and I just dip in my needle and I just touch around the head, a bit like that. And I'll put that back to one side for a moment, and I will reposition, or I will position these wings. Now that varnish is dry. As it dries, I will ensure the eye is clear by doing that. Okay, I'll draw these wings into a sort of position I want them, and I'm going to put a touch of varnish down at the root of these wings, and then I will give them the final position using my brush. Get down in there like that. You don't want the wings too close, too shut up together, and yet you don't want them too far apart. Okay, now that's the Caenis, and this is the hackle that was used. Very small barbs on it, a good quality hackle. And really that's the Caenis. It's called the Angler's Curse. The hackle, by the way, not sure if I mentioned, it's a grizzle hackle. So that's it. You may want to tie that, or you may not. I don't use a very small fly very often, but I just wanted to show you the tying because I had my friend here tying it with me, and I thought, well, this is one I could show other members of our club or anyone else who's interested. So I thank you for watching that.